Hey, what is going on, my brotherhood? Welcome to another new episode of Curious Creations, a discussion of homebrew, D&D, races, and classes. If you guys are excited, I hope you are. Head on down to that like button if it's a like button, because guess what? We're going to be on SoundCloud and Anchor, so I don't remember what's there. But if you listen to this on either SoundCloud or Anchor, you can show some love there, too, for whatever happens to be.
I don't even know what that is.
They are podcast websites that you can listen to it, but you won't get any visuals.
I see.
So, and I've already uploaded 2 episodes from our the first 2 episodes of our Curious Creations segment from last week onto SoundCloud. The third one will be going up later today also, along with this episode, and then I'll get this episode on SoundCloud as soon as possible. This episode will be going up on Thursday, September 26th. Sorry it didn't come out earlier. Some things were going on in personal life, and without getting too much into it, I got a new job, so things are a little hectic right now. Episode 2 will come out on Saturday, and we'll put out episode 3 next week. So the story of Hazel will be out next week, but let's go ahead and get into Curious Creations and what we're going to be discussing this week. This week we're going to be discussing Servitors!
Servitors!
Let's go ahead and get some pictures up, show off what a Servitor is, what they look like for the most part. So if you guys haven't noticed, a Servitor is a lot like a Centaur, but instead of having a horse-like body, they have a deer-like body. Which is why the servit part is in there, because there's actually the Latin word for servit something, or I don't remember the exact whole Latin word, but there's a Latin word that has servit in it.
You were about to sound really smart.
I know, I was about to, but then I'm like, I ruined it.
Like, I actually did my research, and you know that this...
I did this research a long time ago, so I'm not going to get too much into it, but...
It's okay.
But let's go ahead and start discussing what the Servitor is. Those who are familiar only with Centaurs are quick to point out the similarities and resemblance between them and Servitors. But closer observation reveals an abundance of differences. Servitors have the lower bodies of deer and the upper bodies of youthful humans. Indeed, even an old Servitor will still have the appearance of a man no older than 20, and they rarely live twice that number. So 40 years old
is death?
That's pretty much it for a Servitor.
Wow.
I don't know if I like that much.
Well, it means that you live life to the fullest.
And that's kind of what these guys do. We'll get into that.
Do. And I guess it's kind of like Super Saiyans. Like, the Saiyans, they look really young until they die.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
They hit peak, and then that's it.
At least they'll always be hot.
Right, yeah.
I love you, Vegeta.
They'll always be hot.
You're so hot, Vegeta. I love you. Servitors are lithe creatures, quick on their hooves, and flightly by nature. They are much lighter in coloration than most Centaurs, both in their upper and lower parts of their bodies. So, big distinguishing factor you're going to find here is you're going to find Centaurs in open plains. Servitors are going to be like all other deer, in forests, bouncing around. They're not going to be plain running creatures. They're going to be those daintily jumping deer that you see out in the woods all the time.
Right.
Unless you live, not in the Midwest.
Yeah, I guess if you don't live in the Midwest, you might not actually see deer or hit them or whatever.
Yeah, like we do all the time. Yeah, so we see a lot of Servitors all the time, Some drunk guy trying to ride a deer because he drank too much Busch Light.
Right.
The Servitor race encompasses a variety of phenotypes. One population of Servitors might have longer hair, rougher character, and resemble reindeer, while another will share the tiny frame and tusk of muntjacs. I do not know what that is. I do not know what a muntjac is. But pretty much what it's saying is, if it's a type of deer, there is a Servitor for that type of deer. So like moose, elk, reindeer, regular deer.
I was gonna say, is a moose or a deer?
Well, I mean, they're more related to deer than anything else.
I don't think so.
Well, what would you say? They're more related to horses?
No, I think moose are their own thing. I don't think they're anything like deer.
They got antlers like deer.
So a lot of things have antlers.
Name one other animal that's nothing like a deer that has antlers.
Sheep.
They don't have antlers. They have horns.
Okay, horns. Okay.
So score.
I guess that's true.
Score.
Yeah.
This makes it hard to make generalizations about Servitor physiology, although the following usually holds true. Males have imposing antler crowns, while females sport smaller, straighter antlers. They are herbivores and almost always ruminants, and they are relatively small, standing no taller than a human and often much shorter. More interesting than their physical characteristics are the minds of servitors. Servitors, at least those who have not been influenced by other cultures, live in the moment. It is built into their very character. They express emotions, both positive and negative, in large, obvious ways. A servitor in love will woo the target of their affection constantly and might hurt themselves if their love is not returned, while an angry servitor will concentrate only on hurting those who have angered them, but once the emotion is gone, it will rarely be returned to servitors. It will rarely be returned to. Servitors hold no grudges, nor do they long remember lost loved ones. So yeah, they're a very live-in-the-moment race, but when you
they have to be.
Yeah, when you only live to be like 40 years old, that's it.
Alright.
So a little bit of history about servitors. Though they look like centaurs, servitors actually hail from the Feywild. If you didn't know, centaurs are not Fey. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I'm just asking questions. Indeed, they have more in common with the Fae than any mundane race, in that while they have no natural arcane prowess, they possess a mind that's hard to comprehend to say a human. Servitors have almost completely adapted to the material plane, to the point that they are nowadays quite rare in the native Feywild. Servitors have no history as a race per se. They do not build, nor do they have ever built nations or empires. They feel no need to record their deeds or attempt to make themselves famous, and they rarely, if ever, consider the long run.
Well, who would remember them? Like, all of their friends will die, like, the next year.
Yeah, I know. They have little to show for the thousands of years of their existence
sad.
in the material plane. This ties into the live-in-the-moment nature. Unfortunately, this lack of a need to assert themselves has led servitors into being cruelly mistreated in many parts. Their mindset means that the servitor bands respond to aggression with fierce resistance, but the moment the offender backs off, the servitors do too. It's not that they forget, rather they cease caring. This makes it easier for a tactical foe abusing the tendency to devastate servitor populations. Servitors also possess a fairly low level of technology unless they live close to a more stable society. Their weaponry consists of little more than sharpened sticks, and they have no need of constructed dwellings.
Wow.
Yeah, servitors, unless they live close to something, they're pretty much don't bother us and we won't bother you.
They're like, no, it's cool. I'm just gonna be over here jumping around in the sun. So
yeah.
We're cool, you're cool, I'm cool, let's go. I'm gonna eat some berries while I'm at it.
Sounds like fun. Berries. Berries are good. Servitor society is arranged by gender, although, again, this might vary by phenotype. Males usually live alone or in small gatherings, while females live in larger packs with the fawns. An interested male will approach a pack of females and attempt to court them. A male will usually court around 3 to 5 of the females at once. If their affections are returned, the male will live with the pack for a while. While in no monogamous way, a male servitor with children will frequent the packs that contain their young and will protect them as best as they can, and often sire more children at the same time. This holds true for servitors living solely with their own kind, however. Servitor populations that live near other races will quickly adopt any positive features of their cultures. These populations are a breeding ground for servitor adventurers, a line of work the servitor mindset is actually well suited for. Servitors are present moment oriented adaptive creatures with a penchant for moving in small parties, all qualities of the archetypal adventurer. So yeah, they make great adventurers.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, I feel like this would actually be a really hard one to implant though, because like unless they have a goal that specifically needs to be done, like, they might travel with you for a little while, but they might not see the need to later.
But, I mean, as long as you make it interesting, maybe they will.
Maybe, but
Plus
they also might be interested in going to find a female.
Yeah, and they do pick up on, you know, if they have a group of people that live next to, you know, let's say an elven city, they will pick up on those features of the elves.
Mm.
Or maybe they live close to a human city, they'll pick up on the positive features of those cultures.
I don't know. I just think the way the Servitors are kind of like, ooh, shiny, ooh, shiny, ooh,
Sounds
shiny.
like Katie.
Sorry, cuties.
Sounds like a friend of ours.
Sorry, cuties. But no, I just think, like, maybe they would be best for, like, a short campaign. Because I don't feel like a long-winded, well-traveled
I
campaign
agree with you there.
over years.
If it was a series of short campaigns, like a series of, like, go do this, and you're done.
Yeah.
Then go do this. But if it was like you have to, you know, you have an end goal and then all these big goals along the way.
And you got to travel like across the continent.
I don't think they do
I don't think they would do that. Yeah.
No, I don't think they would either.
I almost feel like Servitors might be good, like, NPCs, like people who have missions or guides, like short times or maybe short adventures. But they're definitely not like a long-term D&D character.
Oh yeah, because they would become so bored if you had just this big, huge adventure, and you expected them to go on every little step along that big adventure.
They'd be like,
"Do I have to? Can we go do something else? This is boring."
Right, and they're just like, "Hey, I want to go play in that waterfall." And they're like, "No, we have to go here, and then we have to go here." And he's gonna be like, "No."
Like, have you seen that waterfall? It's so nice.
It's so nice. Like, well, I'm going there.
So for Servitor traits, you get to increase your dexterity score by 2 and your charisma score by 1. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm.
They gotta be dexterous to run through the forest. And charisma, you know, they're fey creatures. Everybody gets along with fey creatures.
Right, plus they're hot.
Yeah, they are always attractive young males or females. Servitors mature in around 2 or 3 years. Wow.
Well, they only live to 40.
I mean, still, but like, dang.
They just pull out.
And they live up to be about 40 years old. They tend to be neutral. Most stand between 4 and 6 feet tall. They are considered medium creatures. They do get a speed of 40 feet. I like that. I like that they get an increased speed.
Right.
Like every other freaking creature that's not a human in 5th edition D&D, they get dark vision.
Because why not? Well, they do live in... The forest can be pretty dark.
So they can see in dim light within 60 feet as if it were bright light, and in darkness as if it were dim light. They cannot discern color in darkness, only shades of gray. Pretty much the same thing every time you hear dark vision. They get hooves of fury. You may attack with your hooves as though they were an unarmed strike. You are proficient with your unarmed strike, which deal 1d6 bludgeoning damage on a hit.
So you like rear up and like... Or rear up your back.
Oh, I just did a horse thing.
You just did a horse, yeah. The horse kick, though, is a pretty good one. Like that back kick.
I don't know what a deer sounds like.
They, like, bleat, I think. No.
Do a noise.
I don't know exactly what it sounds like.
You said a bleat.
Yeah, I know, but I'm pretty sure that's what their sound is called. I think it's called bleating. It's called bleat.
How do you know this? I
don't know. I could be wrong, but for some reason, that's what my brain is telling me.
Well,
that they bleat.
Your brain might be right. So they also get horse half. You cannot wear boots, pants, or anything that is worn on the legs or waist area except for belts and specially made armor and saddles. All your armor must be specially made to accommodate you, doubling the cost. You cannot ride mounts. I just kind of want to see a servitor jumping onto a large creature.
I wonder who makes them, though. Like, would
they
make them themselves?
Probably not, but this is going to come into the fact that if they live next to a city, because like in my world, servitors are one of the many species that fall under the elves, and they actually use them as, you know, mounts and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah. So then I guess that would make sense because I don't see the reason they would want.
They wouldn't want to.
Yeah, like, they wouldn't want a saddle. There's no reason for it.
I actually made a group in my world called the Woodland Warriors. They are literally a group of nothing but hooved creatures or mounts, and they're like a cavalry for Queen Isilnor and her elves. So
I bet it's ridiculous.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Rideable anatomy. You can willingly serve as a mount for a medium or smaller creature as long as their additional weight doesn't cause you to be encumbered. Furthermore, your carrying capacity is multiplied by 1.5. So if you guys don't know, in 5th edition D&D, there is a way to calculate your carrying capacity. You just have to go to the chapter that talks about abilities, go to strength. I don't know exactly what it is off the top of my head. But with this, you get to multiply that total times 1.5.
Well, it's because they can distribute the weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have Fey ancestry. You have advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic cannot put you to sleep. And that's it. What do you think?
No, I mean, I think it's a neat race, but like I said
before, are we
before,
missing something though? I mean,
I mean, they're pretty straightforward. It's just they just don't seem to have a lot of longevity for a long time game. That's it. Like, I wonder who they would, if they were a cleric, who they would have.
See,
like
that's another thing. Like, the centaurs have a god, but they don't care about him.
No, I didn't know.
Like, I know we keep going back to centaurs, but the centaurs, I literally was reading about them in Forgotten Realms, and this is a while ago, and they have a god, but they don't care. They don't worship him.
That's weird.
They, recognize him, but they don't actively go out of their way to go, offerings, and all that stuff.
I mean, I get that. It just doesn't seem like the Servitors are connected to much of anything. They don't keep any written things. They don't make histories. So I don't imagine they have gods. So you might have a hard time playing.
If it's anything, it's just nature worship.
Yeah. But it doesn't even seem like they'd be interested in a whole lot of that.
Nature, I think they'd be interested in, because nature's all around, and there's all that different stuff, You just look at a piece of nature and go, oh, look, there's a tree. Oh, look at that bush. It's got the brightest red berries in the grove. And
I guess. I mean, for protection purposes, if you could grow, nature and, greens and stuff, maybe that'd be useful. But I think it'd be hard. There's definitely some classes, since they don't keep written things, that might be hard.
Races, you mean? You said classes.
Yeah.
We're talking about race, babe.
Well, I know. I know we're talking about race. I'm just saying, playing this race might restrict the classes you play. They wouldn't.
Oh, now I understand. What you mean.
They probably wouldn't be a wizard because it doesn't seem like they write things down.
Yeah,
so
they probably.
They don't have a wizard
actually,
book.
I don't understand why that's not in here. What, you can't read or write?
Oh, well, maybe you could still read. You just don't care.
Why would you read or write though? If they don't keep any written, if you as a race do not keep any written documents, why would you ever write?
Unless, that would be one of those things where if they lived with, if they lived next
that
to
would
other
be the
races.
only time I would actually allow that, because
because if you don't have a written language, then it doesn't matter.
And I would imagine they don't. I imagine they speak Fey. In fact, you can speak, read, and write Common and Sylvan, and Sylvan's not just a normal language. That's for them. Sylvan's like an all-encompassing Fey language. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I suppose they could read or write if they're. I'm guessing that would be something if they're interacting with that culture quite a bit. Maybe they'll learn how to read and write a little bit. But if they're just by themselves, they probably don't.
Yeah. It's an odd race. I still like it, though.
Well, no, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying, this would definitely be a better NPC class, or NPC race than a playable race.
It's still a cool race, though. I like it.
I like it. No, they're definitely cool looking.
I'm looking forward to showing off... Oh, my gosh. Sorry. Sorry about that, guys.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to showing off... Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We're going to go ahead and end the video right now before I blow up here.
You're going to die.
But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll have the next episode up on Saturday. We'll be talking about the class that we paired. Oh my gosh. With our Servitor. And we'll see you guys then. I hope you guys are excited. It's going to be a cool class. I'm looking forward to it. But until then... Make sure you head on down to that like button and hit it. If you're new, subscribe. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Bye!